Are you wondering what it's like to move to Durango, Colorado in your 20s or just as a professional athlete? I'm going to sit down with Nicole here, who is a 24-year-old who moved to Durango 4 years ago as a professional kayaker to go to Fort Lewis College. We're going to talk all about what it's like to be an athlete here, what it's like to be in your mid-20s trying to fit into Durango, trying to meet new people, what it's like hiking out here, biking, just enjoying the outdoors in general, and what are some of the challenges of living here in Durango, and we're jumping into it right now. By the way, guys, as much as I love shooting these videos, I even love more helping you with your real estate needs. My name's John Bird, and I'm a licensed realtor here in Durango and Southwest Colorado. If you're even thinking about moving out this way, give me a call or text. Love to make it a smooth process for you. Hop on a call, go over your criteria, and really help dial you in to what you're looking for. Looking forward to connecting with you guys. Let's jump back into the video. So Nicole, what brought you to Durango?
I went to college here. My parents bought a house out here when I was out in high school, and I always knew I wanted to get in the mountains because I'm from Oklahoma originally, and so I wanted to go to college here in the mountains, and so I went to Fort Lewis and just graduated actually.
Awesome. And what was it like going to Fort Lewis?
It was great. The people were amazing. They were super welcoming. I was actually a geology major, and we would go outside all the time. We would have labs outside here in the mountains. I mean, it was just, I don't know. You can't experience that anywhere else in the world.
What's it like being here in your 20s?
Oh, it's great. There are so many activities to do. I mountain bike a bunch, I kayak, I ski, I whitewater raft and kayak, and it's great because the community here is totally just built for that. So it's amazing, and people are really welcoming, and it's like I'll go out mountain biking on the trail and always meet a new friend. It's great.
Love it. So you don't feel like it's like tough to fit in?
I don't feel like it, no. If you like the outdoors, it's a perfect place to be. Yeah.
Is it easy to find other people your age to connect with?
I would say so, and part of that is from school and just kind of meeting people my age, but also I'll go out mountain biking, and there are a bunch of young girls like me that are kind of out riding the trails, and we'll see each other, and especially just like being a woman on the trail, it's cool, and we'll kind of get each other's number and go ride around and just be great friends.
Yeah, you mentioned you just went for a 30-mile road ride the other day, right?
That's right, yeah. And I met those people just kind of being here in college, and we were all around the same age, and it was super cool. We just texted like, hey, you want to go on a road ride? And yeah, it worked out.
Awesome, perfect.
Yeah.
Where did you go? Tell a little bit about that ride and just kind of what rides you like to do.
Yeah, we went out the Lower Valley, I believe is what it's called, Animas Lower Valley, and we went out all the way to Baker's Bridge, and we kind of stopped and looked at the water, and we did consider jumping it, but the water's too low.
Yeah.
And then up on that, once we got to Baker's Bridge, we went up to Shalola Pass, and then kind of back down, and that's kind of the ride I like. There's a good amount of, uphill climb, but you're not also dying the entire time. So I like that. I also sometimes will ride up to Purgatory and back, and just that's more of a grueling climb.
That's a really tough one.
It's great though, because yeah, it's like there are amazing people here that I can just go shoot a text to, and yeah.
What are some challenges you've experienced moving here? I mean, it's obviously tricky still moving here, going right into college, not knowing anybody. What's that been like? Any challenges?
I would say I haven't felt that many challenges in terms of meeting people. Everyone's really awesome, but I would say in terms of like housing market, that's been tough. The rent is always super expensive, and not even that, but like the housing is just limited, and so it's hard to find good housing and good rent.
Okay, so now you're out of college, you've got a job. Would you say Durango is a good place to start your adult life?
I would say so. I got pretty lucky out of college. I met this guy named Eric, and we work for Durango Septic Design, and it's his company, and we go out building designs and modeling and people's houses and designing the layout, and it's amazing. And there's tons of career growth here, which I would say is very rare for a small mountain town. And there's awesome mentorship with all around, so I would say so.
Are there local gyms, churches, events, things like that really helped you plug into the community, or what would you kind of recommend to people watching to like, hey, take these steps to plug into the community?
Yeah, personally, I go to a local church here called Durango Vineyard, and there are tons of people there that are super young like me and that are just out trying to live the mountain life, get outside, mountain bike, ski. So that's a way that I've been plugged in. But I would also just say going on a hike, going on a run, you'll always meet someone, you'll always meet a new friend. And I would say if you want to meet friends, that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Do you feel like people here are welcoming to newcomers?
I would say so. every time I've gone on a trail or mountain biking or gone to some competition or anything, people are just, I feel like, always wanting to include me and ask if I want a beer or something, and just, it's easy to talk to people, so I would say so.
You don't feel like it's very like cliquey? I've heard of like places like Boulder where it's, you know, you were a professional athlete where it's like very cliquey, and if you're not in, you're not in.
Yeah, and I know that world because I feel like I was kind of part of the cliquey scene, but I wouldn't say so. I feel like Durango, and that's what's really cool, is you have people of all levels. You have people who are professional at what they do, then you have people that just want to move to the mountains for a new experience that might be from Texas or wherever. And so I would say it's not cliquey at all, and it's super easy to get into sports. And what's cool here about like mountain biking, if people are interested in that, is they build trails that are for the professional levels, but also that are for the beginners. And then they also have the intermediate. And so I would say people are just so willing and welcoming to invite people into that community, which is great.
So you're a professional kayaker. What's it like training here? Do you like training here over other areas? And talk a little bit more details about that.
Yeah, I love training here in Durango. One, just being able to train in an area where you have beautiful mountains all over the place is amazing. The water here is great. You can train all year round here, but you have peak season. So right now the water is super high because of the snow runoff, but then there are other times where the water is a little bit slower. But it actually gives you nice versatility because then you can train on different things throughout the season.
Awesome. Can you talk a little more specific? Somebody that has no clue even the name of this river practically, like where would you put in and where would you take out? What's a day look like?
Yeah, a day kayaking here in Durango would look like you would put in at a bridge called 32nd Street, which is north of town, and coming all the way down here to Santa Rita, which is about 5 to 6 miles of kayaking, and it ranges from anywhere from class 2 to class 3, and on peak season right now you can get some class 4 areas, but that's not until you hit this park right here. So there are several areas that you can get out of the river if you want, but it's a great run, and a lot of times people will come down here to the Whitewater Park and just do laps. So they'll go down, take their boat, and then they'll just carry it back up and then just continue to do laps, which is great.
And so are there any other places that you would recommend putting in, like say Baker's Bridge or up before Baker's Bridge or areas like that?
I would say if you're beginning kayaking, I would say stay in town, but it's actually, you could go up to Oxbow, which is cool because it's a total flat section, and you can actually take your paddleboard too. It's flat enough where you can take your paddleboard, you can go tubing. I mean, there's just so many versatility.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about rafting. You were just in a competition in River Days.
Yeah,
Tell us a little bit about that. What's that like?
Yeah, so I was just in a competition, rafting slalom, where people put down these gates, and there are red and green gates. The red gates, you have to go behind the gate and then back up. The green gates, you just go straight through it. And our team actually won second this year,
yeah,
so
good work.
Pretty exciting. But there's a big rafting community here, and it's kind of the same thing with kayaking, is you can put in at 32nd, Oxbow, or 29th, and people will do what's called a town run, and so you start there and you come all the way down here to Santa Rita, and that's just super fun because again you have different levels of whitewater, and a lot of times you can just sit there and enjoy and relax and not really have to paddle that much. It's
Love
great.
it. Is it easy for someone to get into rafting?
I would say so. There's a big rafting community here, and I personally experienced being out at the put out and people inviting me on their boats and I don't even know them.
Love it. That's super cool.
Yeah, I would say so.
Can you walk us through like a typical weekend of peak kayaking season?
Yeah, so typically we'll be out here doing 2 days. So bright early in the morning we'll be kayaking, and then right at the afternoon we'll be kayaking as well. And then you go to your job in the middle.
Okay.
And then from there you go and travel around, you compete. And right now there's what's called the Colorado Tour. So the Animas River Days, which is what I just competed in, got second. That just happened. Next week is GoPro Games. So throughout this week we're training and making sure we're ready for the next competition.
What's something you didn't expect moving here?
I would say the winters for sure. There's a lot of snow, but it's great. And the community here is great and they help out. But the winters here, I feel like I got here and then it was a little icy to drive. I would say I didn't realize how careful I needed to be when driving. There were a few times where I was driving and I kind of fishtailed a little bit. But I would say here in Durango, they're super good at salting the roads and making sure it's not icy. So really it's only an issue like early morning and late night. But I didn't realize that. But there have been a few times I've been up skiing and I've come back and it's totally a blizzard, and just like, oh gosh.
Definitely. Yeah, it can be like you can only see 5 feet in front of you.
That's right. Yeah, it's super powdery, super white, and you're just like holding on super for dear life.
For dear life, yeah, for sure. And I think just being cognizant and careful and not rushing and knowing, hey, other people might know the road better than you. Who cares?
Yeah,
just drive your speed.
Yep, drive your speed. I've learned that you want to drive like everyone else is trying to kill you. So if you have that in your head, you'll be fine.
Yes, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
What kind of person do you think would do well in Durango?
I think the person who wants to be active and learn the mountain life thrive here. Someone who isn't afraid to try a new sport. For example, I didn't know how to climb at all coming into Colorado, but I've had a lot of friends teach me how to climb, and that's been something super fun that is new to me, but also has been just so much fun. And it's actually helped my paddling career as well. So someone who isn't afraid to try new things and is just eager to learn.
That's awesome. Yeah, I totally agree. And I think that people typically come in here not quite expecting what the weather's going to be like. Like we just talked about the winter. And if you're ready for the winter and if you appreciate the outdoors, you're not going to care as much about like the price of homes and cost of living because it is higher.
Yeah, well, and there's this huge debate where it's like Colorado's a little bit more expensive to live, but in the Midwest, I mean, there's nothing to do. And I'd much rather be happy where I'm living and sacrifice price of something to live this amazing life here in Durango.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've lived in several different areas in Durango. Let's dive into what you liked about some areas, what you didn't like about some areas.
Yeah, I think my favorite area that I lived in was just north of town, right on 32nd Street. There's a city market, North City Market is what we call it, and my house was literally right on the river. And so as a professional athlete, I was able to take my kayak and go kayak every single day on the course, and we would bring gates down, and it was just so much fun. And it was perfect because I feel like the main street is a little bit south of town, but it's so close here in Durango that you can just walk anywhere and you can bike anywhere. And the river trail was right next to where I lived. So I would say that's totally my favorite part. One of the areas that I wasn't as fond of was just kind of living up in Wildcat Canyon. It's a beautiful area, and I actually like living out of town a little bit and just enjoying the mountains, but you can't really commute anywhere in terms of biking.
It's not really close. Yeah.
Exactly, and that's kind of the community here, is just being able to bike everywhere, biking to dinner or coffee or whatever. So.
Makes sense. Can you elaborate a little bit on that area as far as snow and ice? It's a little bit more cover, there's a little bit more shade there.
Yes, I would say Wildcat Canyon area gets a little bit more snow. I would say about a foot more of snow than in town because you're raising about 1,000 feet above town. But I actually love the area. I think it's beautiful. I think my only complaint is just that I couldn't really bike to town as easily as I wanted to.
It's just commutability.
Yeah, but it's also nice being out there and kind of feeling like you're the only one in the area, which is beautiful.
Yeah, there's not a lot of homes out there. Really.
No, there's not.
Yeah. What's the pace of life here?
I would say the pace of life here is everyone is on mountain time. That basically means people are relaxing, people are out doing their outdoor activities. I mean, when I work this job, none of us are in suits or anything. I mean, we're just showing up in our little mountain skirts and our little mountain dresses and just kind of living life. People are slow here. They just really want to enjoy life is what I've seen versus compared to like the corporate world in New York, or let's say like corporate Texas or Oklahoma. So I would say it's definitely a slow pace of life here.
Right, and I think people really move here to get away from that. It's not that it just happens to be like that. It's like it's very intentional.
It is very intentional, and I feel like there's that vibe whenever you go out on a hike. People are there just to enjoy the mountains and just to kind of be present versus just like, oh, I got to do X, Y, and Z later on.
Absolutely. So somebody commented on the YouTube channel, and actually they really wanted to hear what it's like from somebody just trying to connect with people. And you mentioned that, we already talked about that, but really elaborate on like, do you feel like for most people in their 20s, it's going to be pretty easy to connect with people? Let's just kind of like summarize that and put that to rest.
Yeah, I would say yes. It's super easy to connect with people. Really, the way to do it is just going outside. And that's the culture here. If you go outside, you're going to make friends. Yeah. I have met several people, just even out kayaking, where, we'll be out surfing a little play wave, and then I'll just have an hour-long conversation with this guy, and it's amazing. And I think that is with any sport here. And then additionally, after you go do your mountain bike ride, go to get some beer and just sit down and enjoy it and look at the mountains because that's what everyone else is doing. And I would say that's totally the culture here.
Right, and I'd agree with you that like most people are doing something outdoors.
Oh, yeah.
Like you're not going to find many people that are just going to the bar.
Yeah,
Like,
well, and it's like when I went to college here, all of my friends on the weekends, we'd go out on camping trips and go backpacking, and it was just like you would never just like stay.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be studying and staying inside at all.
right, it's like that's what you came here to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. The weekends are to get away, go hike, go back country, whatever, ski, and just to get away.
Yeah. Awesome. Elaborate a little bit more on that. What are some of the favorite trips you've done?
Some of the favorite trips I've done was a big backpacking trip where you start at Chicago Basin, which is up in Silverton area, and it was a 6 days, 5 nights backpacking trip with a group of people here from local Durango. Actually, I went in a store one day, signed my name up, and all along I was on a backpacking trip. So that was great, and just meeting a ton of people, and I met a ton of friends there, and we still go out and do lots of things.
That's awesome. So Chicago Basin, for people that don't know, 4 14ers, right?
Yes, that's
and
right. Yeah.
How was it? Do you feel like it was pretty sketchy or pretty decent?
I
Not
would
too
say
crazy?
it wasn't too crazy. I would say you definitely want to be acclimated to what was going on, but it was cool because the group I was in, you could go as slow as you wanted or as fast. There was a certain amount of mileage you had to hit every day,
Sure.
but you had all day to do it. It wasn't like you were going 50 miles every day.
Right, for sure.
So I've done that, and I also did another backpacking trip, kind of in the Silverton area. I'm not totally remembering which one it was, but that one was 3 nights and 4 days, and that was also a very similar experience where it was super easy, and we would just hike to different like glacial lakes, which was amazing. And then one girl actually had a paddleboard on her and carried it all the way up there, and we would go paddleboarding at night, which was great.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and we had beautiful mountains everywhere.
That's amazing. And what's your favorite local coffee shop, restaurant, or just place to hang out, even if it's just something outdoors?
Yeah, I would say probably my favorite coffee shop or local place to go is 81301. That is a coffee shop north of town. It's right by where I used to live, so I'd walk there and bike there all the time, and it's great. You can just sit outside, read a book, do your work. A lot of times I'll just get a coffee and do work over there, and it's just, you got a beautiful view.
Absolutely. It's a great spot. And let's just ask that second question is like, if people want to just go hang out, go for a real easy hike, what are some hikes you would recommend? And maybe talk about like the access to hikes in town. Like we've talked about it on the channel in general, but just give your perspective on the access to trails.
Yeah, that's something super special about Durango specifically, is you can hike and bike to wherever you want from wherever you are.
Right.
When I lived here north of town, I would bike from my house to the trail, and it's Animas Mountain Trail, which was so much fun, and it was like 0.25 miles away, a quarter mile away. I mean, I would say from anywhere you can access that. And I would say some good trails I like are going up Twin Buttes, which is just west of town. West of town, going Spurline Trail, that's great. Horse Gulch is an amazing area with an awesome coffee shop by it, by the way.
Yes.
I would just say there's amazing access to trails wherever you are.
By the way, guys, if you're thinking about moving to Durango or Southwest Colorado, like I mentioned earlier, my name is John Burden. I'm a licensed realtor here in Durango and Southwest Colorado. Would love to help you with all of your real estate needs. Give me a call or text. Looking forward to making it a smooth process for you. We'll see you later. So Nicole, tell us what brought you to Durango in the first place. We're gonna have so many outfits.
I'm so sorry.
Don't be. What's the pace of life here?
I would say everyone's here. Dang it. Gosh.
Like, I had this perfect.
I know.
I was gonna nail it. Oh, you had it. You're like, yeah, no.
Okay. I don't know why I have the giggles again.
Angela's
I'm so sorry.
gonna love this. My editor.